In this world, you learn to be alone. You understand after dealing with people and after dealing with people's, just absurd attitudes, dealing with their evil proclivities and dealing with their emotional fluctuations that seem to always attack you. You learn to just isolate yourself. You learn after a while when you try to talk to that girl and you go to a different location. Hell, you go to a Starbucks and try to talk to the girl. You go to a park and you may try to cold approach a girl or something like that. And hell, you may go to Six Flags or Knott's Berry Farm or any other theme park, and you see a girl that you like, and you may try to talk to her and you get rejected. It's always the same results. So, what does that tell you? If you put your hand in fire and it burns, you're not going to put your hand in that fire anymore. So you learn to be alone. And even amongst like your family members, let's say you have a dad, a mom, sister, brothers, all that. And even though you're in a house filled with people, you still feel empty inside because you don't get the same level of treatment. You don't get the same level of respect as everybody else simply because you may not look the best. And due to you not looking the best, you have a terrible life. And I don't care what anybody says because how you look like, it correlates to your life. I know it sounds ridiculous to a normie, but because normies don't understand because they never really been in this field for real. But when you're somebody that's unattractive, your lifestyle usually matches it. This is why I think for guys like us in this position, the best jobs we can get is online remote jobs. We have to learn how to code and do all that, but artificial intelligence integration is slowly taking over. So eventually that's not going to even be an option no more. But you learn to be alone in this world. When you're a man and every single day you go to work, you pay your bills, you do your job, you do the quote unquote right things in life. And life seems to just ignore all your good valor. Like life doesn't care that you're doing the right thing. Life doesn't care if you're on the right path. Meanwhile, there's some deviant, there's some miscreant, there's somebody out there that's, doing criminal activity or whatever. And they have all the girls, they have all, the power, they have all the money, they have the success. Sure, they can get arrested and sent to prison for life, or they can get neutralized or deleted. But for the most part, you have lots of men, that are enjoying themselves, that are bad guys at heart. Meanwhile, the good-hearted people are just thrown to the side like a dirty bag of Doritos. It's brutal. And one of the most brutal things when you get older is that if you never really had that college experience, you know what I'm talking about. Going to the college parties, and you see people like having sexual alleviation right there on the couch. You see, like you look in the closet and you see some guy. He's getting fellatio with a high ratio by two women, and he start hitting it from the back in there, and then his friends join. It's like these are the life experiences that if you don't have as a man, you're probably never going to have them without paying for it. Like you're never going to genuinely have that. You see, when you're young, that genuine attraction cannot be faked, and it cannot be, it can't be orchestrated at that age. At that age, it's very natural, right? Like girls like who they like, and it goes on the looks, right? And you can't fake natural, genuine attraction when you're young, man. And if you don't get that genuine attraction from a female when you're young, bro, it's going to be very difficult to even gain confidence in yourself. And I know it sounds ridiculous to normies, but to people like us, we understand, man. We understand that not having a woman in your life severely depletes your confidence in yourself. It makes you just feel like you're worthless because you don't have a good girl in your life, man. You don't have no girl in your life, and you never had those sexual experiences. And they tell you to go out into a world in which you need confidence in yourself. You need belief in yourself in this world. And if you ain't never had no experiences that can make you confident, it's very difficult to try to maintain. Like if your whole life, man, girls always diss you. You're not an attractive guy. You're not somebody that girls even want to be around. How do they expect you to get up every day and look for a job unless you're forced to by your father? How do they expect you every day to just not go crazy and you have no girl to hug you, to hold you? It's the reason why ASMR becomes so popular. I know a lot of girls watch ASMR, but a lot of men watch ASMR too, simply because they don't have a woman in their life. And ASMR, even though we know it's fake, it provides some type of psychological alleviation from the pain. And then you find out almost all these ASMR girls have boyfriends. Almost all of them have OnlyFans. And it's like, wow. And then you see this girl who you were watching, who you thought was a sweet girl or whatever, which I don't know how you can be deceived, because all girls are freaky. They're just not freaky with you. But you see a cute girl who you thought was innocent, and then you watch her on OnlyFans with her behind spread wide open and doing something strange for a little bit of change with a Chad or a Tyrone. You're like, damn, like really? Wow. Like she's really busting it all wide open. And then deep down inside, it's not really a feeling of jealousy, it's a feeling of regret. And then you learn to be alone. You really do. I have I guess you can say friend, right? But we don't like, since we don't live in the same location. And this friend was telling me about his younger brother or whatever. And I remember like his younger brother hit me up, hey man, how's life? Blah, 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 and all that. And, show me pictures and stuff. And I'm looking at it like, wow, like this guy he had an amazing college experience, although their family is very wealthy. So that could play a part as well. But he had an amazing college experiences. Like this, like he was one, like he was one of those guys where literally every week or every other week, at least a couple of times a month, he's with a different female. Like seriously. And the whole time he'll have a main girl. And he has video evidence, proof, and all that he's with different females. And it's like some of these girls look like girls on Little House on the Prairie. If you guys know what that series is, the Little House on the Prairie, they look like just regular, everyday girls like, that you could never imagine getting freaky like that. That's why it sucks to be guys like us in this position, because we never really know a girl's real side. You don't, because the side you see is a mask she wears. Like if you got a cute girl at your job, you're not going to see the real her unless she's dissing you and teasing you and laughing at you or disrespecting you and trying to make her job a living hell. But that's that side that she does, that she shows to you. Her real side is when she strips it down and busts it down for Chad and Tyrone. Tyrone gets to hear her moans. Chad gets to hear that nanny smack as he hitting it from the back, right? They get to see her genuine love and affection and attraction. And it's absolutely brutal. But that's the world that we live in, and that's the way that this world is designed. It's designed to make people who actually have the divine spark feel like they're worthless. And when you feel like you're worthless, you just want to isolate yourself because there's no point. There's people right now that probably like, hey, how come he hasn't hit me up in all these years? We were cool and all that. And the reason why I haven't hit talked to these people for a while is because my life is not really the best. And if you guys were to see me, you guys would be like, wow, like, are you even the same person? And then some of them be like, well, how come you didn't just come and talk to us and just, maybe we could have helped you and this, that, and this, but they don't understand is that when you want to do something in life and you actually have the talent to do it and you don't make it, it does something to you. It's like it's like when you really want that girl in your life and you don't get her, it does something to you, man. And when you're dealing with mental health issues and no one cares about your mental health issues, they don't care. They instead attack you. How can you attack somebody knowing they have mental health issues and they're going through it in life and nothing happens to you? What God sees that and allows it? What God sees somebody that's going through mental health crisis and then you take away his whole family and then he's perpetually under attack? You try to go to a job interview and then they don't want to hire you. You try to do the right things in life and you get punished for it. What God sees that going on in your life and doesn't even help you, doesn't even lend a hand out to help you. But that same God will sit there and bless iShow Speed, bless Kai Cenat, bless Corey Kenshin, and make those people have all types of wealth and power where they'll never have to work a job in their life that they don't like, where they never have to ever be alone because they'll always have a woman that wants to bone, right? They'll always have the car, the house, the peace that they desire. Meanwhile, people like us that all we want is peace, we seem to be the ones that get targeted and get attacked. When all we want is peace and to mind our business and just leave people alone. It's like when you have the divine spark, people can't get enough of you. They have to feed on you, right? They have to feed on your energy. It's like that's how you know you're a chosen one. When people just they fixate on you, right? Like you become their obsession. Like in your family, you're the one that everybody in your family talks about. Every time there's like a family dinner or something like that, your uncle who you don't like comes and like, hey, where's Billy at? Tell Billy get out of his room and stop being in his room. Blah 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 blah. He did become a man. Blah blah blah. And it's like, damn. You thought you could just sit in your room and be left alone, but now your uncle's in there. Next thing you know, he's banging on your door. Come out that room. Blah 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 blah. Come out that room. What are you doing in that room? All you do is sit in the room all day. Blah 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 blah. You come out the room because you're forced to at this point, and then the predictable probability happens. Why don't you have a job yet? McDonald's is hiring. That's like some of the most disrespectful things someone can tell you. Oh, get a job at McDonald's. They know what they're doing when they say that. They're not stupid. Because if they need a job, how come they don't work at McDonald's? Right? They know what they're doing when they say that. They're trying to disrespect you and try to feel superior and act like they're above you. You know? This is why people isolate themselves. This is why people don't like being around people. This is why you learn to be alone. A lot of us, man, we don't really want to be alone. A lot of us deep down inside, we would love to be normies. I would love to not know about the Illuminati and not know about the demiurge and have a beautiful wife and children and a big old house and a summer house and a house in Aspen and, a boat, you know what I mean? And fishing gear and hunting gear and stuff. I would love that. The problem is, I don't have that and never will. And the problem is, like, once your eyes has been open to the truth, it's difficult. It's almost impossible to go back to just, oh, well, nothing exists. That doesn't exist. It's impossible. Because once you snap and you realize what this world is about, you start to evolve mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and you look at people differently. You see people as problems to be avoided. You see, you create a threat assessment in your mind, and you look at people and say, okay, I know this person's an asshole. I know this person is evil. I'm going to try to stay away from this person. I don't want to be around this person because I'm a person that values my limited energy in this life, my limited attention span. I can't sit there and try to focus my attention where it doesn't benefit me. It makes no sense because everybody in this world that's successful, they focus their attention on things that benefit them and things that they're happy with. And people like us who are the excess men, the rejected, the dejected, people that are not selected, they don't care how we're feeling. They don't care if we're going through some type of isolation, some type of hell. They can care less, Like a lot of people in this world can care less about what guys like us are going through. They don't, like that girl who rejected you. She doesn't care if you're like, if she's like the 1,000th girl that rejected you and all she had to do was not even date you, or just say, or just let you down nicely by saying, no, I'm okay. Instead, she like berates you and disrespects you, and she goes all out with her friends and laugh at you. She doesn't care if you snap, because if you do anything that's against the law, guess what's going to happen to you, right? You have to abide by the rules, laws, and the regulations. And the funny thing about it is the people that make the laws often are the people that break the laws the most. They're just hidden behind wealth, power, and influence. Look at the world today. Is that a world that you really want to be a part of? Look how people treat each other. Look how people attack each other. Look how people who are quick to make judgments about you, right? These people don't really know you like that. They haven't sat down with you and smoked a blunt and talked, right? And it's just like this parasitic energy in this world where there's always something that's trying to vie for your attention. There's always something that's trying to steal your energy, steal your happiness. You ever wonder why, like, you could be having a quote unquote good day, and a good day for guys like us is just not being around people. That's a good day, but you be trying to have a good day and then something just happens, all of a sudden you're minding your business. And especially if you don't live by yourself, that's a bad thing. And a lot of Gen Z are either getting kicked out, or they're either living with their parents, and then the older generation are wondering, how come you still live with your parents? You're supposed to get a job and do this. And it's like, it's not that easy. It's not 1972 anymore. One job is not enough to get one apartment. You need 2 or 3 jobs, and then you need to put down payments and all this. It's like, why do they do that? Because there's a certain Chico ownership that controls the housing, they control the banking, they control the Hollywood industry, they control the military industrial complex. They control a lot of things, and their goal is to make your life as hard as possible, just so you can be loosed. Because they benefit upon your destruction. They benefit when you're in a bad position. Honestly, and that's brutal, but it's the truth. When you're in a world where your pain and your agony is somebody else's, you know, happiness. That's how you know this is a cruel world. What world do you know of where you can be somebody that's going through it, and all you need is just a little help or a little blessing, if you want to say that. Even though I don't like using the word blessing, because somebody like me, I don't ever want to be blessed by the demiurge, because the demiurge is very evil and wicked, and you don't want to be a part of his system, because once you become a part of his system, you become his puppet. You know, um, I was watching Schizo Dumps, and he was talking about how like the whole world's a stage, and it was like, yeah, that's true. The whole world's a stage. I think who said that? I think it was Shakespeare. William Shakespeare said that originally, I believe, where he said the whole world's a stage. I believe it was William Shakespeare. But it's true. A lot of these politicians and these celebrities, they all wear masks. They put a face in front of in front of the people, and they show you a side that is socially acceptable. But behind closed doors, they're doing crap in the Epstein files that you can't even imagine. You know, like the things that goes on behind the scenes is totally terrible, and the things that we see with our own eyes, that's only the surface level. But somebody tells you vote for your president. That's one thing that I know why this is a hell realm, and why people like us just like to stay alone and not be bothered is when we see people saying, "Oh, you guys voted for this president, so you guys deserve to have this." And that's all part of the game. When they tell you that, "Oh yeah, it was you, the regular warehouse worker that voted. It's your fault that we're in this mess." You don't have the power to do that. You don't have the power to vote. Voting's put there so it can keep the masses satisfied, so that because every day you feel powerless. You wake up, you go to work, you pay bills, you are literally a servant. So if you can't even have the right to quote unquote vote, then it will be very obvious. So what they do is they cover it up. Oh yeah, go ahead and vote. Yeah, well, you voted for the president. You see that this was your decision. It's all on you. That's such a psychological mind cluck, right? It is, because in reality, it wasn't you. There's powerful beings and powerful things behind the scenes that you never see that are actually orchestrating it the way that they want. But they keep you at these jobs and these schools so that way you can never cause a rebellion. When you go to work every day and pay bills, you're too tired to try to cause a rebellion. You can't cause a rebellion when you got to pay bills. When like where are you going to sleep at? You see what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And then now we live in a system where you're always being monitored, you're always being watched. You can't really do anything without the government knowing. They track your IP address, they track your online activities. Even if you try to use VPNs and all that, the police can get past all that. Trust me. They have sophisticated technologies you wouldn't even imagine. You can change your password, you can change your computer, you can do all that. They have all types of satellite, they have all types of data telemetry where they can find out exactly what you typed in, what you did. If you create any backups of videos, whatever you do, you think you're hiding in some SD card or whatever, they can find that. And you can break it, destroy it, and try to erase it, and they can still recover it. And everywhere you go with your bank, like whatever you buy, you go to the damn ice cream shop, and it says 215. January 11th, you bought a freaking ice cream cone. It was a large size or whatever, and then even the person who sold it to you, even have her name on there. It's like, damn. Once they had your social security, you're in this prison. There's no escape, man. And I think somebody asked me, what can we do to fight against the demiurge? Well, that's gain gnosis. That's gain spiritual knowledge, gain spiritual acuity, right? That means that you don't be part of this world. You don't engage in negative energetic manifestational frequencies. When you see somebody that's getting teased or getting bullied and you join in on it, that's not part of the pleroma. That's part of the archons. That's archonic energy. When you see somebody on the street that's homeless and everybody ignores that homeless man and you have some money in your pocket to give it to him, but you don't, that's the evil. And it's not going to hurt you, right? If you give this guy 10, $20, it's not going to hurt you, but you're not doing it because you just don't feel like it. But if that was you in that situation, you'd be wanting somebody to give you $10 or $20, and it doesn't matter if that I'm not saying every homeless person is just some innocent angel, because certain people, you can just look at them. They're great. Like you can tell that this person's dangerous. But there's those homeless people that are so cool. They're polite. They say thank you. They say God bless you. They say all these pop. Those are the homeless people I'm talking about. And you see people all the time making fun of them and teasing them and stuff like that. And it's like, what the heck? In California, when I was growing up, I remember like on the freeways, you'll see like these people always selling like oranges and stuff. And I remember there'll be people that be, like you see cars, people frowning at them or people keeping their face straight. But like I made it a point every time I had like a little money in my pocket, you know, if I'm riding with friends or whatever, I'll make sure to buy their oranges and stuff. Some of them oranges be the best oranges you ever had. The oranges be sweet. They be some good ass oranges, better than the store, And it's like, cause I wanted to support those people because I know that man out there selling oranges. He has a family. He has this, Do you see how I have compassion? I didn't look at his skin color configuration and make a judgment. I looked at him as a human being, and I know that his particular people and my particular people, there's some tension there, especially in California. If you grew up in California, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to get into details. You know what it is. California state penitentiary rules. You know what that is. It's based on racial regulations, and you know how it is, man. I don't got to get into that. We already know, especially grew up in Cali. So yeah, like I'm a person that I never I never judge people based on their skin color configuration. I judge them on the content of their heart, for real. That's what makes me such a rare person, because what I'm saying to most people is like, what the heck? Yeah, and that's how you know that, you could be a Heilig or an NPC if you don't understand compassion and empathy. If you see somebody that's already down on the ground being attacked and you jump in on it like a rabid dog, but then when somebody singles you out one on one, then you don't want that smoke. You see what I'm talking about? It's crazy. But that's the world we live in. We live in a world of bullies and people that they love to see you in pain. They love to see you in anguish. And what makes it even worse is that you have your own family members that would kick you down when you're down. That's the most evil person ever. And these people be trying to go to church and thinking they're saved. You know, saved from what? Because the pastor said you're going to be saved. Saved from what? Are you still going through it? So what did you just say? I'm gonna be saved, meaning when I pass away, I'm gonna go to heaven. You see how brainwashed these people are? And you're such an evil bastard in your heart, and you think you're just gonna go to some heaven magically? Well, maybe because the demiurge is evil himself, and that's not even the real God. You serve the God who has your soul in prison, but probably you're not even a real person anyway. You're probably a Heilig or an NPC. So of course your God is going to, your actions are going to reflect your God's actions. Jealous and boastful. Do you know the God of the Bible? He said his name is jealous. Did you know that? In the Bible, in the Christian Bible, the Holy Bible, you can look up what I'm saying yourself. He said, my name is jealous. I'm a jealous God. My name is jealousy. What good loving God will say that his name is jealousy? You're jealous? Who are you jealous of? That means there's another God. What are you jealous of? If you were the only high holy God, why are you jealous? And then it says, I'm the Lord. I bring evil and I do goodness. I control the light and I control the dark. And this God hardened the Pharaoh's heart. So where's the free will? Right? Where is it? Because I don't see it. And how come some of the most evil people, the people that have no intellectual capacity or no tenacity or veracity for intellectual advancements and enhancements and augmentations, how come these people are the ones that are placed in positions of power, wealth, and influence? How come when you're just somebody just minding your business, this world seems to have people just magically spawn, people you've never met before, people you've never seen before, people you don't even know, who magically just spawn and then try to attack you? Well, who the fuck are these people? Where do these people come from? Right? Who are these people? You be at your job minding your business, and all of a sudden your coworker just starts just want to talk to you crazy or want to attack you. Like I don't even know you like that. Yeah, we work together, but I don't know you, and you don't really know me. All you know is a mask that I'm forced to put on while I'm at work. But you don't know you don't know me. You don't know me, and I don't know you, and I don't want to get to know you. I just want you to leave me the hell alone. But you're not going to leave me alone because you're being controlled by the demiurge, and you're there to generate loose energy. So the best thing to do is just accept that we live in this evil world and focus on your own spiritual development. Because think about it like this: everybody that's ever done you wrong, they have to pass away eventually. Their heart is going to stop. They're going to take their last breath, and then whatever comes after, right? And I just know that after that, man, life is still ain't gonna get any better. You know, and sometimes I think about this, man. I think about when I'm gone, how the world is going to be. I know I shouldn't care, and it's not going to matter, but how's the world going to be another 100 years from now? I won't be alive in 100 years, and a lot of you listening now, more than likely, will not be alive. If you're alive 100 years from now, and you're watching this video, tell me how the world is. Just drop a comment. Even though I'll never read it or never see it, just drop it anyway, right? If YouTube is even still around, YouTube may be gone, right? But imagine how the world's going to be. I wonder if the loneliness epidemic is going to explode. I bet it is, especially with the integration of artificial intelligence and all that. But can you imagine how the world's going to be? How different it's going to be, but yet still be the same. I bet you're still going to need money. That's never going anywhere. You're still going to need to bow down to evil people. And now the robot overlords, like it's Terminator, right? It's just a weird world we live in, bruh. It's honestly, it's frustrating that we can never live life the way that we truly wanted it. We can never have the life that we've dreamed of, the life that our forefathers had. Well, my forefathers are a little bit different because, let's just, well, if you just know the history of America, it wasn't, it wasn't pretty. I'll just say that. But other people's forefathers, look what your forefathers did. They went around the world, they conquered, they got all this wealth, they got all this power, they enriched Europe, they made Europe one of the most wealthiest places, right? And they put their people in a position of power, wealth, and influence. They have social acceleration. They can go anywhere they want. They don't have to worry about if they go to a restaurant and the people come say, "Oh, you have to pay now." Like, has that ever happened to you before? It happened to me in a group of friends. Like, we go to a restaurant, right? And it's a restaurant where you're supposed to pay after you order your food, but when we ordered ours, they told us we have to pay right then and there. And I remember one of my friends went and asked the people around us, and there were people that didn't look like us, and they asked, "Did you guys pay already?" They're like, "No." It's like they were like, "No." Like, that's why we was watching you guys, and we were shocked that they made you pay right now. No, you're not supposed to pay until after you're done eating, and then they give you the bill, and then you pay. But when they seen us in our skin color configuration, I guess they thought we were going to dine and dash, so they had us pay right then and there. And you can say, well, that's just, it's their business. If you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. And you're right. That is true. But the problem is, if I looked like somebody else, I wouldn't have to go through that humiliating experience at all. And yeah, that may be a small thing to you because you probably never went through it. I hate when people tell you about things that they've never been through and they try to give you advice on something that they never been through before, right? You know how annoying that is? It's like a rich man telling you to just work harder when he inherited all of his millions of dollars from his grandfather and he never really had to really work, right? That's the thing that I can't stand. It's like, if you never walked in somebody's shoes, how can you judge them? How can you talk about them, right? And this is what I'm talking about in this world. You have so many people that are just degenerates. And these are the people that become wealthy and powerful. And when you have the divine light like I do, you have people that feed off of you, people that parasite off of you. If I didn't exist, they wouldn't exist, it feels like, right? And I'm just a normal. Imagine if I was a multi-millionaire. Imagine if I had money, wealth, power, and influence. Imagine if I get one day to 1 million subscribers, and each video is getting hundreds of thousands of views. Imagine if I get big like that one day. Watch how different people would treat you. Watch, watch. Like, people, would start trying to kiss your ass. And I'm a real one, so I already know that it's all fakery, and I'm not gonna let that get to me. If I ever become a multi-millionaire, I'll still make videos, but they'll be a lot better. And I'll still be saying this stuff I'm saying now. It's not going to stop because I got $1 million. Yeah, my life may get better exponentially, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to I'm going to stop telling the truth. No, nope. I'm always going to keep speaking that real and tell the truth, man, because we need people in this position to really speak from the heart and speak from the soul. Because I don't want, I make these videos for young men to understand, man. When you're young, and if you have the looks, of course, you may have a chance to make something of yourself. And even if you're somebody that's unattractive, don't get so comfortable, staying in your room, right? I know that's the safe place. I know that's the best place. Trust me, outside the room is doom. That's my quote. Outside the room is doom. But when you get a certain age in this world, people are not going to take care of you. Then you're going to find yourself homeless with nothing, and people still talking about you and still crapping on you. And you're going to realize, like, damn, this life is merciless. But yeah, man, keep your head up. And there's a reason why people are alone and people don't want to be bothered with negativity and foolishness. Like, there's a reason for all that. Peace.